So I'm super excited to introduce Doug Moss to us. Doug is the newly titled VP of Coach Development, and Doug and I have worked together for years on getting to elite. And a lot of times people are like, okay, what is the importance of elite? I've always said, just like we're doing these Vimify groups and we're kind of tracking what we're doing, elite is a great tracker of how your business is growing. And that's why it's important. Yes, it's really fun to get like extra prizes and be recognized and get to be on stage and all those great things. But I believe that elite is a great measure of like, what are the things I should be concentrating on and how do I measure the growth in those areas? So this year, and Doug, you can talk about it a little bit more, but this year we talked about, or I think, a hard time when people come back from Summit or first of the year, they're always like, I want to be elite. I want to be elite this year, you know? And then by month 2 in, they're like, oh man, there's no way I can be elite, right? Mm-hmm. And it feels very defeating. And so what happens with a lot of our team members is that they just give up altogether on goals, and they just kind of get to where they're just like, oh well, I can't get elite, so screw it, you know. So this new format that I'm really excited about that Doug's going to share with us, and I have my notes out to take notes, is kind of great for all of our coaches, and it's a road to elite. So you may not actually end up at elite during the year, but you will have some things that you can actually achieve, and they're not super unattainable. You know, it's not like you're trying to go for top coach and you're an emerald, you know. So I'm really excited about Doug sharing this with us because I think it's going to be really, really great. So, all right.
Really, really great. I appreciate that. So I'm going to share my screen so that we've got the PowerPoint going. Share desktop 3. And then let me kick off the PowerPoint. Come on. Okay, you guys are seeing that? Here's the deal. I'm going to start out by talking to you about the elite program, kind of how it is, how it's always been. And I want to just share it with you, kind of starting with the end in mind on this one, because here's what the deal is. Last year, in 2018, if you wanted to be an elite coach, this is what you had to do. You had to be a 5-star diamond, hold it 6 consecutive weeks. You had to have 105 what we call balanced leadership points, and you had to create 2 new diamonds. Okay, that's what an elite coach was in 2018. The good news is for 2019, it's exactly the same. We didn't make it any harder. We didn't complicate it. We added one thing, but I'll cover that at the end just so you can see it. Now, the reason I think it's important to start with the end in mind is because this is you, right? You're standing at the first of the year and you're like, I want to become elite. And so you're down here and you're like, I got to get there. How do I get to elite? And every year we have, I think, thousands of coaches that say, this is the year I'm going to be an elite coach. And every year, everyone starts on the path to becoming elite. And to Stephanie's point, you get down, halfway, 3 months into the year, and you're like, yeah, I'm not going to make it. So people throw the towel in way early in the year, and they kind of give up. Now, that doesn't mean they don't, continue to do the fundamental activities of hitting Success Club and helping others and running challenge groups. It just means that, you know what, elite's out of the game, and so therefore they don't continue to push towards their goal. Well, this is where you're at, and this is where you're trying to go, and there's this huge road that's going to get you there. So I'm gonna tell you a story, and this happened 3 years ago, and this is where Arno Nakaha comes to me and says, Doug, let's run a marathon. And I'm like, listen, if I'm anything, it's not a marathon runner. And it's like, I'm not built for that. Here he is, 6'3" guy from Africa. And I'm like, okay, Arno, like you're supposed to do that. Like, I'm not that guy. And Arno and I kind of go back and forth, and, he's from Burundi, and, but I will say he's not a runner either. But with that said, he's like, Doug, let's you and I run this marathon together. Well, that's me standing at the beginning of this road of becoming a marathon runner. And I'm like, all right, listen, if there's any way to do this, I'm going to have to figure out how to attack this thing one step at a time. Like I got to run a 5K, because if I can't do a 5K, I'm sure as heck not going to do a marathon. And then we'll talk about a 10K, and then we'll talk about a half. And if I can do a half, maybe then I could gut out a marathon. And I will tell you that that's literally the thought process we went through as we started to look at running a marathon. And to me, Elite's a lot like a marathon, because I can tell you that when we get to December of this year or December of last year, I had coaches that I swear were at mile 24 and they're thinking about quitting. And it's like, I'm just not going to make it. And it's like, no. When you're at mile 24 of a marathon, you don't quit. Like, I don't care what you have to do. You crawl, like you figure it out. And what's interesting is I don't care what you have to do to run a marathon. Like, there are guys that run a 2-hour marathon, and that's the elite 10. Like, those guys are crazy, and those numbers are not my numbers. I didn't run a 2-hour marathon. Then there's guys like Kim Carver, who offices next to me. Kim's run 4 or 5 marathons, so he's like a 4-hour marathon guy. And that's like the coaches that end in September, October, get everything done. It's tidied up and it's nice. Well, the way I ran a marathon was, listen, it was like, 5.5 hours. I'm coming across, the finish line. They put this medal around my neck, and I can tell you, I'm like, get this friggin' thing off me. It weighs too much. It's too heavy. I don't want, it's like, dude, like, I made it, but I'm not in a good spot. So what's cool is we finish this marathon. We have these pictures of all of us standing there like, yay, we're finishing this marathon. And then we have these pictures of me laying down by a tree, throwing up, and like literally dying, because it's like, bottom line is we pushed to the end and we got this thing done. And it wasn't pretty. It wasn't whatever. But guess what? I finished the same marathon Kim Carver did. And I finished the same marathon that the guys who did it in 2 hours did. And guess what? At the end of the day, we all got the same medal, and I'm a marathon. Like, I've done a marathon, like bucket list check. Elite's exactly the same as that. Like, I don't care how you get there. I don't care. If you're not the 2-hour marathon guy, nobody cares. If you get there in 5.5 hours, 6.5 hours, doesn't matter. As long as you finish the year and get it done, it's all that matters. When I tell you there's 206 elite coaches from last year, you don't know who's number 196, and you don't know who's number 86. Like, you guys have no idea. But when they're sitting at Summit and we're walking them across stage and we're doing all the things, they're all elite. And so I tell you that because I don't care how fast you do it, and I don't care what your Success Club numbers are all the way through. You just have to do the basics and do the fundamentals to get it done, and however you get it done works for us, okay? So now let me explain how you do that. I'm going to start off by talking about these 105 balanced leadership points, okay? Because I want you to understand that, yeah, the rank of 5 stars required to be elite, and you building 2 new diamonds, personally sponsored, is required to be elite. But these 105 leadership points are important, because what those are is all the company's doing is we're trying to track coaches doing the fundamental activities that we believe are important for you to build the business. For example, there's 3 categories of how you earn these leadership points. The first one is APV, okay? APV requires you to sign customers and coaches this year, 2019. When those customers and coaches that you sign this year, when they buy a challenge pack or they get their Shakeology order, it all produces PV for them. Every time that PV accumulates to 500 points, we give you an elite point, okay? The longer you retain your coaches and customers that you signed up this year, the longer they count for you, okay? So retention also is recognized here. So the fundamental activity that this one is recognizing is you recruiting and helping people into challenge groups with customers, you bringing in coaches that build the business, and you retaining both your coaches and your customers, okay? That's what this is. This is that fundamental of, hey, I'm out helping others. I'm doing these basic activities. As you do it, it generates PV. We call it acquisition personal volume, and that leads to elite points, okay? The earlier in the year you get started, the longer people count for you. So if you start in January with signing 10 customers or coaches, and you retain those 10 all year, they counted for you for 12 months. If you wait and sign them in October, they're going to count for you for 3 months. That's why the first quarter is so important. That's why we launch products. That's why New Year's resolutions, all the things align that the first of the year is when you have to start running if you're going to be an elite coach. Okay, the second category of fundamentals that we track is you signing coaches last year and this year, and you mentoring your coaches to get into Success Club. As your personally sponsored coaches hit Success Club, we give you an elite point. And every month that they hit Success Club, we give you an elite point, okay? Every month that they hit Success Club and you hit Success Club, we'll double that elite point and give you 2. So for example, if you had 2 coaches you sponsored in 2018 who you mentor and work with, and they hit Success Club in January, well, that would give you 2 elite points. And then you hit Success Club, we'll double it and we'll give you 4, okay? The activity that this is teaching you, the fundamental is duplication. If you're going to build a Beachbody business, you've got to find a way not only to recruit coaches and customers, which was APV, but now to duplicate your efforts and get them into this process of building a business. In order to build a business, you've got to duplicate your efforts and get others to do it as well. So that's where this fundamental is, you teaching coaches how to hit Success Club, and as they do it, we give you elite points. The third way you earn leadership points is, this is the new category from last year. It's very simple. It's called PS 1 plus SC. This is, as you sign a coach in 2019, if within their first full month, okay, so if you sign them in January before the end of February, if they get 1 Success Club point, we give you an elite point. Now, that doesn't matter who they sell a challenge pack to. That doesn't matter who else they sell an HD Shakeology to. Whoever it is, they get a Success Club point. You get an elite point. That is not requiring them to hit Success Club. It's just you helping somebody learn how to do a share a cart and sign somebody up or get somebody, into a challenge group. Why is that important? Well, I'll tell you why. Because as we've watched this fundamental, the more we get new coaches started and learning how to use share a cart, learning how to do these fundamental activities of coaching, the more likely it is that they're going to go on to sell it to somebody else again. Okay? We've looked at the data and we know that anybody who does it once is much more likely to do it a second time. And what we're figuring out is a lot of it's just because they learned the process. It became easy to sell a Bought All Access challenge pack because they've already done it. Let's say that their sister joined when they did, and you taught them how to fill out share a cart to send to their sister. And man, there they go. They got this 1 Success Club point. You got 1. They got 2 Success Club points for selling a challenge pack. You got an elite point for that. Well, then what happens is a month later, they're out in their walking group and their neighbor says, man, you seem to be getting, more results than me. And she says, well, I'm doing this 21-day fix program. Well, I want to do that. Oh, well, I can do that. Here, let me send you the share cart thing. Now she knows how. Now she's selling the next challenge pack. So the fundamental activity of this one is getting coaches started and learning how to do the activities of selling challenge packs to customers and to coaches. Okay? Those are the 3 ways you earn leadership points. So as I talk about the road to elite, you're going to see a leadership point requirement on each step in the road to elite. Okay? So I don't really need to go into this, but we used to have what's called the leadership ladder. And the leadership ladder was a program that really was designed to celebrate coaches, but really it kind of brought the compensation plan conversation into the training earlier into the business than the elite program or anything else. So what we did is we took the leadership ladder and we put it into elite, okay? And let me show you what the road to elite looks like. This is it. So there you are. You're at the very beginning of the road and you're saying, I want to be elite. So this is you and you're saying, I want to get to elite. How do I get to elite? And, it's like, I got to be a 5-star. I got to get my 105 points. I got to build my 2 diamonds. Well, what we did is we said, no. Yeah, you still got to do that to be elite. But let's get you one step. Let's get you to team builder. right? This is me wanting to run the marathon, and let's figure out how to run a 5K, right? Because I got to run a 5K before I'm doing the marathon. Well, you got to become a team builder before you can become elite. So what we did is we said, here's the road to elite. We're going to give you an ability to get to team builder so that you're doing the fundamental activities of getting on the road to elite. So what do you have to do to be a team builder? Well, you have to be a diamond or higher, and you have to hold it for 6 consecutive weeks, okay? So if you're a 2-star and you hold it for 6 weeks, or you're a diamond and you're paid diamond for 6 consecutive weeks, in the back office, you can't see it today, it's coming in February, you're going to see there's going to be a little grid, and you're going to get a checkbox next to diamond because you held diamond 6 consecutive weeks. Doesn't matter if you're Stephanie Richardson or a brand new diamond. You have to hold it 6 weeks, okay? And once you hold whatever rank above diamond you hold for 6 weeks, you'll get a check mark. The second thing you have to do is you got to earn 25 leadership points. Well, I just told you how you earn them. So doing these fundamental activities, you're going to earn leadership points. As soon as your leadership points total 25, we're going to check that box. Then what you have to do is, remember, to be elite, I told you got to build 2 diamonds this year. Well, we're going to put you in the beginning, you got to build an emerald. Hey, just build us a brand new personally sponsored emerald. You do that, we're going to check the box. And then what we said is, hey, just like the leadership ladder, I want you to understand how to make money in the compensation plan. We brought in this requirement to say, you know what, over the course of 5 weeks, you have to accumulate 1,000 team volume on your weak leg. That's not 1,000 in a week, that's 1,000 in 5 weeks. So meaning, if you average 200 weak leg volume per week over 5 weeks, you would have 1,000, that would meet the requirement. Okay, let's say we do a big launch of Transform 20, and the first week of January, you had a great day and you ended up with 500 team volume on your weak leg. Well, over the course of the next 4 weeks, you just got to get 500 more to get your total of 1,000 over the course of 5 weeks. Okay, so it's any 5 weeks that you have a cumulative of 1,000 weak leg volume, that will meet that requirement. We'll check the box. Once you've met all 4 of those, you're now a team builder, and we're going to ship you a piece of a trophy, and it's a crystal trophy, and you're going to get the base of the trophy. Okay, weak leg volume, I just want to be clear, guys. There's something I wanted to say about that. I want to make sure that you're understanding that it's not 1,000 a week. It's a total of 1,000. So we're just trying to definition. What is your weak leg? Your weak leg is not your left leg, and your weak leg is not your inside leg. Your weak leg is whichever leg has less volume. So 1 week your left leg might have less volume, and the next week your right leg might have less volume. Whichever one is less, take that number, keep track of it. If it adds to 1,000, you've met the requirement. Okay, so your weak leg can change every single week depending on what your volume is doing. Okay, you're now a team builder. You've met these requirements. Now you're headed to team leader, right? This is running the 10K. I've run the 5K, got that one down. I'm going to run the 10K. Okay, I need to be a 1-star diamond. I have to hold above 1 star for 6 consecutive weeks. I've got to earn 50 leadership points. Well, let's just be clear. It's 50 cumulative, not 50 more, meaning that to be a team builder, I had to get 25. Well, to be a team leader, I got to get 25 more. Okay? So I want to make sure we're not freaking you out. You got to go get 50 more. You don't. You just got to get 25 more. I got to get you to a total of 50. Now, these 2 new emeralds or 1 new diamond, same thing. To be a team builder, I had to get an emerald. Well, now to be a team leader, I either need to get another emerald, or that first emerald, if they go diamond, I met the requirement. Okay, so it's the advancement of the emerald to diamond, or I've got two emeralds. And then 2,500 on the weak leg, I've already described it, average 500 a week, or big launch plus whatever the 4 weeks going into the launch or the 4 weeks coming out of the launch, doesn't matter. As soon as I have 2,500 on my weak leg, the box will be checked. So let's just make sure we're clear on that. Let's say you start the year and you're one of those coaches who has 3,000 weak leg volume already. Well, as soon as you're 5 weeks, let's say the first 5 weeks of the year, your weak leg volume is over 2,500. Well, it's going to check the first box and the second box. So you meet the requirements all simultaneously, Meaning if you hold a rank above your 3-star and you hold 3-star, well, it's going to check the diamond and the 1-star requirement. Like, it's all done. So, and once you've met the 4 requirements, so let's say this, you could meet the requirement for rank for team builder, team leader, premier, but then what's going to happen is, you're going to meet the elite point requirement, but man, I don't have my emerald. Well, you might meet the requirements across the grid, but as soon as the 4 requirements are met for team builder, you're going to get the trophy for team builder. As soon as the 4 requirements are met for team leader, boom, we're going to ship you the second piece of the trophy that goes on top of the first one, and that'll ship automatically. The other thing that we're adding is when you go team leader on the road to elite, you are going to get a backpack that's a team leader backpack. Now, last year, any new team leaders got the backpack. So if you've got it, you're going to get another one. If you haven't, and this is your chance to earn the team leader backpack. Okay? I want to be clear. If you're a coach that works all year and you end the year as a team leader, awesome. Congratulations. You're on the road to elite. Next year, we'll figure out how to get you to elite. So I want you to understand that what this does is it says, hey, you're here today. We're trying to get you to elite, destination elite. Well, guess what? I want you to get there. I want you to set that goal. But instead of this year, you going 3-4 months into the year and going, yeah, I'm not going to make it, you don't get to throw in the towel anymore. You're just going to say, I want to be premier. And so maybe it's not, I want to get to team leader. Whatever it is, you're going to set your goal to get to that destination within the road to elite. Okay? If you're on this call, I have no doubt you will end the year as a team builder. The question is, we got to get you to team leader, and then we got to get you to premier. Okay, so that's team leader. You got your 2 pieces of the trophy. You got your backpack. You've met these requirements. We head on to premier. Last year, premier really had the same requirements as elite. The difference was it was a 2-star instead of a 5-star. You had to get 105 elite points just like elite. You had to build 2 diamonds just like elite. Only thing was you were a 2-star, not a 5-star. This year, the premier program, we're going to end up with a lot more premier coaches in the network. Okay, here's how you're going to get there. You're going to be a 2-star diamond. You're going to hold it 6 consecutive weeks, 2-star or higher. You're going to get 75 leadership points. Again, not 75 more, just 25 more over team leader. So 25 to team builder, 25 to team leader, 25 more gets me to premier. Now, I need 1 new diamond. Well, that same diamond that I got for team leader met the requirement for premier. So remember how I told you team builder, I needed a new emerald? Team leader, I needed another new emerald, 2 new emeralds, or 1 new diamond. If I happen to get the 1 diamond, it actually met my requirement for premier as well. Then, week leg volume, I'm up to 5,000. So think about that. That means I'm averaging over 5 weeks, I'm averaging 1,000 per week. It means I'm cycling 10 times. With a 5-week month, I'm making $1,000 a month. So when you start to understand the comp plan and understand the binary and understand week leg volume, we're also trying to kind of trick you into learning the compensation plan. Because as we do this and we get you to do these fundamental activities of on the road to elite, we're also forcing you to learn the compensation plan so that your income starts to increase so that you'll stay engaged in the business. Okay? It all aligns. It all makes sense. And I think that this will be the first year that we've had a program that wasn't like, hey, you're here, get to here. Oh, you're not going to make it. Okay, do something else. This year, you're all on the road to elite. Every coach, I don't care if you're Lindsay Matway, Melanie Mitro, or you signed up yesterday, your goal is to get to team builder. Every coach in the network is headed towards team builder today. We do not have a single coach in the network above a team builder. Why? Because everybody's holding rank up for the 6 consecutive weeks. There's not a coach in the network that will have met that requirement till whatever it is, the 6th week of the year, the 2nd week of February. Okay, so that's where we're at. Every coach right now is headed towards team builder. So now you're a premier leader and we're headed to elite. I've already told you the requirements for elite. 5-star diamond held 6 consecutive weeks, 105 balanced leadership points, 2 new diamonds. The new requirement is 5,000 team volume on the week leg, which is the same volume requirement that is for premier. So we didn't even increase it over premier. We carried it forward. Here's why. When we ran the data, 100% of our elite coaches met that requirement. Like if you're a 5-star diamond, you did all the activities of elite, you had the 5,000 week leg volume. So we didn't want to make it harder to be elite by increasing the week leg volume. We just wanted to say, you know what, as an elite coach, we want to make sure you're making $1,000 a month at a minimum. Odds are you're making a lot more than that because of the structure of the binary. But I just want you to be able to see how the numbers all work, how things kind of fit together in this. Okay, so the elite program didn't change. What it was last year, you here trying to get to elite didn't change. What changed is you're going to go to team builder, then you're going to go to team leader, then you're going to go to premier, then you're going to go to elite. Now, the one thing I want to caution you is that it's going to freak you out a little bit, because here's the deal. The leadership points don't happen equally over the course of the year, meaning that if I take 105 points to be elite and I say 105, I've got a calculator here, and I divide it by 12 equals, I need to average 8.75 points per month or I'm behind. That's not how it works, because you're going to get out of January and you're going to be like, I got 2 points. Like, what the hell? I'm not even close. Guys, you got to understand it doesn't work like that, because APV requires you to recruit coaches, retain coaches. So if I sign 3 customers and coaches in January, and in February I signed 3 more, but I retained the first 3, well, you'll see that the PV in January is half or less than the PV that I got in February. Now when I go into March, I add 3 more, and now the 6 move forward. It's like every month I'm accumulating more PV than the month before because of the retention of the coaches that I've signed. So you'll see that the elite points start to accumulate faster the further into the year we go, as long as you start now. Okay? The biggest secret to elite is not to wait. You've got to get running on the road to elite right now. Like this isn't one of those like, yeah, I'm going to get to Summit and then I'm going to make the decision. The good news is anybody who goes to Summit comes out of Summit on fire. Sweet, let's get them to team builder, let's get them to team leader. Like, there's now going to be a goal set for these new people. There's a goal set for anybody who says, okay, now I'm in. You know, they may not be able to get to elite, or they may be able to get to elite. But the good news is I'm going to be able to break their goal down and say, no, let's get you to team builder. Once I get you to team builder, I'll get you to team leader. Now, we're going to get you to premier, but right now we're going to get you to team builder. And I think the more you can kind of break this down into these bite-sized pieces, the easier we're going to be to get you guys to accomplish the end goal. Okay? And if your end goal is elite and you end the year at premier, awesome. At least you tried for elite and we got you to premier. You know, so you're on the road, you're on the path, we're going to help you get there. The only other rule, and I don't really need to cover it, just so you're aware, we rank the elite coaches every year because you've got the elite 10 and then the top 200, there's additional bonuses for the top 200 elite coaches. So the way we rank the elite coaches, if you're not aware, is we take all of your cumulative elite points and we add them together, okay, all of them. Then what we do is if you have personally sponsored coaches that advance to 1-star, 2, 3, 4, 5, we give you 25 points for each one of those, and we add that to your elite point total. Then this year, for every new success starter that you create, so you sponsor me as a coach and I become a success starter over the first 3 months, you're going to get 25 elite ranking points for that. Okay? These points do not apply towards your 105 elite points. These are just ranking points. But what they do is they help you be ranked amongst the top coaches. And that's, you know, these are the activities of what our top coaches do. Okay? So you can be aware of that. You know, I'm not really worried about your ranking as an elite coach. I just want you to get to the goal. Okay? So with that, Stephanie, I'm going to stop sharing. We'll see the chat thread. I saw there was some stuff. The new Emerald can be a coach prior. Yeah, so the answer is they just got to be a new Emerald this year. They can't have been an Emerald in the past. Diamonds, they have to be a new Diamond this year for the first time. If they were a Diamond for you in 2017 and now they're back to Diamond, that doesn't count. So questions, any confusion? Are we good? What are we thinking?
I love it. I loved it. So can you, So probably, actually all the women on the call right now are diamond or lifetime diamond. Yep. So I think probably for you guys, the difference for you guys will be to have like more of a solid diamond, where you're concentrating on your team volume, your weak leg team volume, where you're getting the 1,000 points, and then starting to concentrate on those leadership points, because most likely y'all probably have never looked at those, because you're like, oh, I'm not elite, I'm never going to look at those. But it's going to be fun to see how quickly that you can get those leadership points to come up. So, and, you know, start to build those. So yeah, I think that's kind of a cool thing.
And don't lose sight of the fact that those points are just accumulated by you hitting Success Club yourself, signing coaches and customers, retaining coaches and customers, and then starting your new coaches into Success Club activity, and then getting them to hit Success Club. Like, that's the fundamental of the whole thing. Like, if you do the activities of helping others, it all makes sense and it'll all add up. It's just, and you got to start now. Don't, you know, and I'll give you this warning, because one of the worst calls I get or meetings I'll fly to Dallas, I'll be meeting with coaches in Dallas, and I'll have a coach come in, I'll be there like, I don't know, in April or something, and somebody will say, man, Doug, I'm so excited. I built my spouse to diamond in the first quarter. And I'm like, okay, great. And she says, well, I'm a 1-star now. Yay, my husband got me to 1-star. Guys, here's the problem. If you do that, then your husband is getting all of those coaches that are accumulating the APV. You're getting none of them. So you cannot, in the first quarter, you've got to build your business so that you're accumulating the customers and the coaches that will drive the activity. If you're giving customers and coaches away, you know, and you have a legit goal at going after elite, I'm just telling you, it'll come back and bite you later. Now, that's not a hard and fast rule. There's always a reason to do things. I'm just trying to caution you to say, right now, January, February, March, you've got to be focused on your business. And I'm just telling you, the more coaches you can sponsor right now, the more customers you get in challenge groups right now, the easier it becomes, because they count for you for the entire year.
That is a great advice, because I'm doing that. So that's interesting. Okay. So, one of the questions, if an old customer becomes a coach in 2019, is she in the 2019 APV total, even though she was a customer prior to 2019?
Well, if she was a customer and becomes a coach, she's a new coach. So she
goes into the 2019.
Well, you can't really do it. If they set out their 6 months, then they're new, but no. If they were a customer but they become a coach, yes, they count again.
That's good. Yeah, so the customers that you had in 2018, they don't count for that part. So that's why it's so important to start getting new customers and new coaches in especially January, February, March. It's huge.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that's important is that as someone who's building the business, you start to pay attention to your 2018 coaches, so that, you know, hey, those are people you're mentoring, working with, because if you can get them into Success Club activity, that's what's going to help you generate those PSSC leadership points. Anyway, so the coaches from last year count towards the Success Club category.
I don't know. So what I usually do is I have like a board or something for you guys that are, you know, shooting for a lead or whatever. I have a board in my office. I won't turn this around, but I have a board, and it has my coaches, my 2018 and my 2017. Well, now it's 2018, 2019 coaches on there. And I just have a running total of who those people are. And then I keep track of how many coaches they've signed up, and then how many Success Club points they have. And I'm constantly updating those so that it's like a visual that I can see who is working the business and who is where they are. That way I can reach out to them every week and say, okay, how can I help you this week? What can I do to help you this week? Awesome. And that really helps me visualize. I didn't do that until like the end of last year. I used to do that all the time, and I kind of got away from it. And I started doing it in November last year and saw a huge difference in what people were doing, because I could keep track of it. I could look at it every day. It was like on a visual reminder for me. And so as you sign up new coaches, you need to have that running total. Another thing that's really helpful is to put those new coaches in a thread together so that you can kind of keep track of those new coaches in some type of thread, whether it's a text thread or, a Facebook Messenger thread, where you can kind of, say, how can I help you? And then they can kind of build that together as well. So those are some things that have helped me. Lauren, do you have some things that have helped you when you were building to Elite? Hold on.
I'm drinking Shakeology. My mouth is numb. So, yeah, totally tracking your coaches and having one-on-one calls with those who are leaders. I have a chat thread of all my, some of them are on this call. I have a chat thread with all my leaders who are working towards Elite and knowing their goals, but also those new coaches, working with the willing, working with the ones who want to build and want to grow, and then specifically and purposely reaching out to them and having more in-depth conversations with them, knowing their why, because they forget it. So a lot of the same stuff that Stephanie does.
Yeah, I would add that the other resource, just to throw it out there, if you go to the champions page and you go into the unit section, you're going to see there are units around Road to Elite that will explain all of this again. I mean, obviously this is recorded, but the other thing it does is you can go there, or you can just go to the FAQ for Elite or Road to Elite. And there are links to what we call, there's a team leader goal guide, a team builder goal guide, and then a premier and elite goal guide, which helps you break down your points and how to calculate this so you can track it throughout the course of the year. I would tell you that if you have a goal to get to team leader, premier, or elite, get the premier and elite goal guide. Don't get the other ones. The other ones are very, very fundamental. Like the team builder one, literally, Kim Carver and I built it based upon, someone who's working the business very lightly and wants to get team builder by the end of the year. So it doesn't require much activity. I would rather you say, hey, I'm going to build the business. You're on this call. So therefore, go get the Premier Elite Goal Guide so that you understand. It has all the requirements for team builder, team leader, Premier, and Elite on it, but it shows you how to calculate the points clearly so that every month you start to track so you can see where you're going.
Yeah, that's super helpful to kind of keep track. And I think when you keep track, just like we were talking about, like keeping track with our Vimify, or keeping track of all those things. I mean, notice how much more activity you're having this month by just keeping track of it. And so that's what I think these guides and stuff like that will help you keep track and with what your goals are and stuff like that. And yeah, so also, that's what really important. If you do sign up like a discount coach, is having them sign up a customer or best friend or husband or whatever in their first month, even though they want to just be a discount. Like, it's a great thing just to say, hey, why don't you have one person join you? And that will give you an elite point in that category for the SC plus one or whatever, PS SC1, whatever.
Yes, 1 plus SC. Yes.
1 plus SC. That gives you that. So even if they don't really want to do the business, say, well, do you have, they say, oh, my husband wants to buy Shakeology. Oh, he could be your one customer, something like that. That helps that one SC. Or if they have a friend that wants to, I always ask them, do you have a friend that wants to do it with you? That's a really easy way to get those points.
Well, and let me add to that. We actually, when we were writing this year's rules, one of the questions was, does the category PS 1 plus SC work? Is it a good category? And should we do something else? Should we track a different activity? And then we had coaches say, yeah, coaches are manipulating it by selling their spouse a challenge bag. And it was like, oh, wait, we don't want goofiness. We want it to be real. So we, and this is the cab saying, hey, heads up, we probably should look at this category to make sure it's legit. Guys, we ran the numbers, and it was actually very interesting. It didn't matter if a coach sold one challenge bag to their spouse or to anybody else, they went on to sell another one, which was really interesting. So when Stephanie talks about, hey, yeah, if someone wants to be on Shakeology or your spouse, absolutely. But the real goal of that is to teach them how to use Share a Cart so that they go on to sell it to somebody else too. Like I think we forget. I mean, we saw data. You guys should know this. We saw data that showed that only like 15 or 20% of our coaches are using Share a Cart, which is nuts. Like, you guys, if you don't know it, if you're not training it, if your team doesn't know how to use it, they need to be using it, because it's like the easiest, cleanest. And if you fill out a Share a Cart and send it to somebody, we have a 50% order rate once the Share a Cart is complete. And so you got to understand that that's also meaningful. So anyway, I just want you to understand, if you don't know how to use Share a Cart, man, get on the phone with Stephanie and Lauren and figure it out, because it's a tool that's very good. And yeah, it is so easy, but you got to make sure your people know how to do it so that they'll do it when somebody says, guys, Beachbody On Demand All Access, it's just, it's becoming, we always talked about it years ago in the Netflix of fitness and da-da-da-da. Well, it really is becoming that. Like, it's more and more becoming like everybody has it. We're interviewing for a couple of positions here on the team, and we interviewed 3 candidates yesterday. 2 of them had BOD, and they're not coaches. They're just people that had BOD. They just work out at home, and so to me, it is becoming more and more relevant, and the more we continue to talk about it, but we need to make sure it's very easy for people to invite and send the Share a Cart out for people to sign up, and that they know how to do it.
Can I just say something quickly? Because I think it just dawned on me. I have so many discount coaches, and I'm so going to go in there in that group and do a live video and show them how to use Share a Cart, and just say, hey, if you have a friend, this is how you do it. Yeah. And like you said, Doug, once they did it once, that sentence, I wrote it out in capital letters. Once they did it, they're most likely more lean towards doing it again. So right now, I was just trying to get referrals, but thinking for me, but now I want them for them, because A, it gives me points, and 2, once they've done it, they will see how easy it is and more likely do it again. So thank you for that.
And Lena, don't lose sight of the fact that they also get a check. And I will tell you, the power of that first check is really important. So yeah, you get someone that sells this challenge pack to their walking buddy, awesome, because then they get that first commission and they're going to go, wait, that was too easy. Everybody should have BOD. Yeah, I mean, now they want to talk to people because that one check showed up. And anyway, that check is very powerful.
I have 2 questions. Can I ask?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I want to make sure, because I know I hopped on late, so you can ignore me if you want. So if I have a discount coach that signs up a customer or a coach with a challenge pack or something, either one, customer or coach, will receive some sort of elite point or a point system, whether it's customer or coach, right?
It depends on when they became a discount coach.
Well, okay, so let's say a brand new person signs up as a coach and they want to bring their husband and he does a customer. Yep. Okay, I just want to make sure.
So in our system, there is no delineation between a coach and a discount coach. They're all coaches. The discount coach is a word you guys made up. I mean, I wish we could track them separately, but we don't.
I guess I meant customer versus coach.
Yeah, customers are very different. Customers buy, they can't sell. Coaches buy and coaches sell. So that's a big difference. Go ahead.
Okay, so if a coach sells to a customer, signs on a customer.
It produces PV and it produces SC. The PV would generate for them, which would count for you.
Okay.
And them producing SC points would also count for you.
Okay, that was great. And then my second question is, and I like your point about not be careful. Everybody's got to run their business differently. I have struggled with wanting to get my husband to Diamond just for me, for the purpose of 1 star, because I know the work that's going to take to keep that going. Mm-hmm. So your point about be careful about putting into your spouse, because now your spouse is getting the point, was super helpful.
Yeah, but let me say this too. I'll talk that, because to me, working with your spouse and your spouse's account, like having your spouse account get you to 1 star it doesn't increase your income, right? Now, that account getting you to 2-star all of a sudden matters. So people always say to me, when do I build my spouse? The answer is when it matters.
Mm-hmm.
Because just to do it, to get to 1-star, might be good to help your credibility and to help you advance. But, people say to me, well, I'm a 2-star. When should I build him to get to 3-star or to 4-star? My answer is, well, I would build him when I want to get to 5-star because I need to get the 5-star bonus. Advancing to 3 or to 4, there isn't a financial benefit of rank advancing from 3 to 4 or from 2 to 3, but getting to 5 all of a sudden matters. So I just don't want you to like there's a time and a place to do all of that. And there's coaches that do it whenever they do it. I just like you to think strategically about why you're doing it and what impact it has, because there's also the risk of, a discount coach sponsored by your spouse that then goes to work that you wish was sponsored by you. Anyway, you can never know who's going to go to work and who's not going to go to work. And so, it always happens. My only caution on a spouse account is it matters when it matters. And you can use it whenever you want. But to me, to get to 2-star, it matters. To get to 5-star, it matters.
Yeah, that's a better strategy. To me, it feels like, and probably why I haven't done it, it feels like it's going to be additional workload for me. And my purpose in this is
for sure
work smarter, not harder. It seems like it's bringing a whole lot more work.
I don't know your recruiting activity. You guys have to also understand that to build a diamond, if you got to go sign 8 coaches and you're signing a coach a month, well, that's 8 months of work. If you're signing 2 coaches a month, that's 4 months of work. If you're signing 4 coaches a month, it's still 2 months of work that you didn't build your business. The more you distract yourself from your business, the slower it goes. And so anyway, you just have to understand that you can't, if you're not recruiting a lot of people, then you can't balance. I mean, you need to understand that you got to get better at recruiting and up your recruiting numbers in order to support the load that it is to support multiple accounts.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else have any questions? All right, Doug, that was so good. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm excited about all these ladies being elite and then also teaching their team to become team builders and team leaders and premier coaches. And I'm super bummed. I would have been a premier coach this year had these rules been the same. So it's a bummer, but whatevs. So would Lauren. Lauren and I both would have been premier coaches this year if, right? So I think we should have been given premier this year. Anyway, okay, so we are excited. So thank you so much. Thank you, ladies, for hopping on, and we will talk to you later. Bye.
All right, guys, we'll see you.